Sorry about that, guys. I almost made a boo-boo. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we have been out foraging something. Yep, dandelions. In here we have about 200 dandelions, and I went and foraged them in a clean environment where there wasn't any toxic fumes from cars and things like that. So I went ahead and foraged them, and we are now going to wash these off, rinse them with cold water. I had already pre-rinsed them, but I wanted to rinse them again just to make sure I got everything out of there. So yesterday's video, or the other day, whenever you see this, I told you a little bit about the dandelions. Every part of the dandelion is edible. The yellow part is good for tea. You can use the greens and the stems in salad. We recommend usually using it like the beginning of spring when they first start coming out, because that's when they're most tender. And then the root, you can also make into a tea. You can also roast the root and ground it up and make your coffee. So now that we've got these rinsed, I thought today we would make dandelion jelly. And yes, this can be a hideous process, but it's so rewarding because it tastes like honey when you make it. Down here I have a cloth. You can use a cheesecloth. You can use just a really thin towel. And you're going to take scissors. You can do it by hand as well, but by scissors seems a little bit quicker. And you're just going to cut the yellow. You want to try to omit having any greens. Of course, you're probably going to get some green in it, and that's okay, but just try your best not to get a lot of green in there because it will make your jelly bitter. So that's what I'm doing now, is I'm just taking this and I'm cutting the yellows, the petals off, trying to get the yellow as much as possible. And putting it down on my cheesecloth. I'm going to put it towards the middle here so that I can collect all the petals that I can. Again, trying not to get the greens as much as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and work through these, and it'll probably take a while. And then once I get them all together, I'll show you what the next step is in the process of making the dandelion jelly. Alright. So as you can see, we have gotten all the petals, green spot, all the petals out of the 200 or so flowers, dandelion. Now, if you do get a little bit of green in here, friend, don't worry about it. As long as you're not using a whole bunch, you should be okay. You just don't want to use a whole bunch of greens because it can make your jelly bitter. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and tie this up. I have over here 4.5 cups of water. I'm going to turn that on high so I can get a nice rolling boil. Then I'm going to take the cheesecloth tie one end up. Then I'm going to take the second one that I have and tie it together too. Get all those petals. I'm going to wrap this around, bring it in. I want to get all those petals wrapped up as tightly as I can. So that they don't seep out. You want to leave enough where you can still grab it. Doesn't have to be perfect, just so that it's all nice and covered like that. So once this comes to a boil, I will have a large bowl and we will put this in the bowl and pour the boiling water over it, and then we're going to let this steep for 24 hours. Alright, so I went ahead and got a bowl. I've got the dandelion that's in a cheesecloth in the bowl. The water is now boiling, so I'm going to turn that off. And we're just going to pour that over the dandelion in the bowl. Alright, and that's all there is for that. You'll notice after 24 hours, your liquid will turn yellow, just like the dandelion. At this point, it's dandelion tea. So, if you decide that you can't wait for dandelion jelly, you've got dandelion tea. But we're going to go ahead and move forward to the dandelion jelly. So I'm going to let this sit for 24 hours, and then when we return, we'll do the dandelion jelly and canning it. Hello everyone. We talked a little bit earlier in the video that we were going to make dandelion jelly. So we have the dandelion tea has been sitting here curing, and I'm going to go ahead and wring that out. And right now it's dandelion tea. So you could simply add sugar to it or honey, and you would have good dandelion tea. So right now I'm just squeezing out all that extra juice. Oh, smells delicious. I don't know if you can see that. Let me bring it around to you. So it's a golden color. And so what we're going to do is we need 3 cups of the tea in our pan. Now remember, when we first started this, I said you want 4 to 4.5 cups of water to boil your dandelions in, and the reason is because it cooks down. So there's 3 cups of your dandelion tea. save the rest of that for my honey. And then at this point, you're going to go ahead and add your pectin, which is going to be 6 tablespoons. And open up another one here. And put that 6th one in there. So at this point, you're going to stir it up. Because you want your tea to be at room temperature when you add the pectin. And it'll look a little clumpy. That's okay, because as it heats up, it'll dissolve. So we're going to go ahead and put this on the stove at a medium heat. Well, medium high, I should say. And we're going to go ahead and let that dissolve. Once we bring it to a boil, we'll move on to the next step. But as you can see, I have my water bath canner here. Back here you probably can't see it. It's a small little saucepan. I have my lids and ring. This recipe is going to yield 5.5 pint-sized jars. So we're going to go ahead and get this to come up to a boil, and then we will continue with our recipe. Okay, so we have brought that to a boil, and you can see that all that pectin has dissolved. And this is where you're going to add your sugar. You're going to need 5 cups of sugar. I went ahead and pre-measured the 5 cups of sugar in the bowl. And you're going to add it all at once. You're not just going to gently pour it in there. You want it all in there at once and stirring constantly as you're doing that. You don't want that sugar to burn. You definitely want to get it stirred. I'm using a whisk. It's a lot easier for me. And while I'm doing this, in the water bath here, you see I have it going. I have my jars in there. They're in the water now, and they'll sterilize for about 30 minutes in boiling water. Oops. I'm throwing spoons. But yeah, you just want to constantly stir this, and as you can see, it's turned into like a golden honey color. That's what we want. And I'm dropping you guys, I'm sorry. And you want to boil this for 25 minutes. And knocked you all over. I'm dropping whisk in there. So that's what we're doing now. I'm going to go ahead and turn the timer on and set it for 25 minutes. And I'm just going to stand here and stir. Yeah, I know that jelly can be very time consuming. I just make sure there isn't any leftover dandelions that got in there. But it's so worth it in the end. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this to a boil. Once it's a full rolling boil, we'll go ahead and start the timer and then let it cook for 25 minutes. So it is coming to a boil, and at this point you're going to add your lemon juice, because this is a low acidic jelly and you're water bathing. So you're going to add 2 tablespoons of your lemon juice. And then also at this point, you're going to add 1 teaspoon of your vanilla. And then you're just going to stir. Just make sure that you do not leave this unattended, because if you do, it will boil over. Make sure you have a nice sized large pan. And since it is boiling, I'm going to go ahead and start that timer. And I will put the recipe down below so that you can have that. And while you're waiting, if you could, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you never miss another video. We do all kinds of things around here. Planting, the gardening. We have a co-garden, an apartment garden. I also do fermenting. We haven't started that yet, but once the garden gets going, we will. And a lot of dehydrating, baking. So it's just a little bit of everything. But it's very important that you subscribe and hit the notification bell, so that you can watch the videos. And then also leave a comment below. Have you ever had dandelion jelly? I know people make dandelion wine, they make dandelion jelly, dandelion tea like I have right now. So yeah, please leave a comment below. Let me know if you've ever tried it, or if it's something you haven't tried and you're willing to try, and hopefully be able to use this recipe. Perfect time of year for the dandelions now. Alright, so it has been 25 minutes. I went ahead and took it off of the heat. This is nice and thick. Good, rich honey color. They say that it tastes a lot like honey. I've had it before, and I'm going to say I'm going to have to agree with them. So we're going to go ahead and get our jars out very carefully. They should be sterilized. Let me use my glove because that got a little bit hot in the water there. Whew. They are steaming me up. Okay. So at this point you want to go ahead and get your jars out. I only get 2 out at a time. You want to be nice and hot. I'm just clumsy today. We're going to go ahead and put our funnel here and pour in. Very, very careful. This is really hot and it is very thick. And you're going to take it up to 1/4 of an inch. A little bit more. Okay. And then you're going to want to debubble it. And move it to the next jar. At this point, you're going to take your vinegar that I have in my little cup here, just white vinegar, and a clean towel, and hold on to the jar and get the top. Because this is very, very sticky, you want to make sure that your lids are able to adhere to it. And we're going to reach back here and grab our sterilized lid, put it on, and our ring, put it on. And you're just going to do this finger tight. You're not going to use your wrist, you're just going to put it on there just with your fingers, finger tight. And we're going to go ahead and move this over to the water. And pull another jar out. And I'm hoping this is going to make 5, but I don't know. It got really thick on me, which is fine. And this was 200 dandelions, so you could always pick more. I think I might only get 3 out of this one. You could always pick more as needed. I'm going to go ahead and debubble this one. And move it to the next jar. This is really thick. Go ahead and clean the rim. And grab my lid. Again, finger tight, that's all you want. Don't use your wrist. Put this back in the water. And I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of these up, and I'll show you as soon as we get done with that. Okay, so I was able to get 4 pint-sized jars. The recipe says 5.5 for some reason. Maybe I might have wrote it down wrong. But you should get, excuse me, 4 of these jelly jars full. And that's plenty with me. So I have them now in the water bath. And they're slowly coming up to a rolling boil. Once it becomes a rolling boil, then you're going to set your timer for 10 minutes. Alright, it is time. Timer has went off. It's time to get the jars out. Actually, we're going to let that cool down for about 5 minutes. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I almost made a boo-boo. When you go to get your jars out, go ahead and vent it for like 5 minutes and let it cool down and the boiling to stop before you lift your jars out so that you don't have that huge temperature drop. So with that, it is time now. I don't want to steer you guys wrong, so I have to correct myself. And we all know that we all can make mistakes. So we're going to pull these out. Very carefully because they are very hot. When I pull them out, I just kind of tip them a little bit, get that excess water off. And I'll show you guys the jar of what it looks like. Now I've had some taste testers, my husband and my son, and they said that it does taste like honey. So if you can't raise your own bees, here's a good way to get a good alternative. And they're already pinging. That is my favorite sound. And there you have it. Nice golden color. Beautiful color. So these will sit for 24 hours. And then once they've all pinged and I know that they've sealed, we'll be able to put them up for storage. And these will last for years. They won't in this house, but they will if you want to. Alright, I got the extra water off of there, and we are good to go. So guys, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I hope that you will try the recipe. Like I said, I'll put the recipe down in the description box. Give it a try. Try something new. It was fun picking the dandelion, kind of like we used to when we were kids. And it's also good that you can get your kid to pick them for you. So, yeah, please. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share. And leave a comment. Don't forget. Let me know if you're going to try to make dandelion jelly for yourself. Alright. Thank you all. I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you. We love you. And don't forget. Share, share, share.